Okay, how's everybody doing? So finally to the track planning phase, right? So there's a few other niggles here and there of bench work to be done, but it's pretty much all done now, and it's just a matter of establishing the track plan and putting in risers and templates and roadbed and stuff. But I got to get a handle on what's going on here in terms of how this is going to fit. Like this particular track planning software right here, just for those of you that don't know, is called AnyRail. It's free. And it's actually a pretty good little software package without any obligations, really. You can just download it for free. I'll leave a link down below. And it really helps to, get the ball rolling, right? Like I used all the fast track templates there, but even this particular layout, like it never really works, when you actually go hands-on, right? Like it just doesn't. I mean, anyone that's been in this game long enough knows that, right? Like, the grandiose idea, the artist renderings, right? The track plan, the idea in the theater of our mind, when we actually put it down onto the structural, like the footprint, that's what this is, right? This is the footprint now that's been established. It never works out quite the way, we want it to, right? But this is the area, this is Big Bend on Module B. I'm going to call this now Big Bend, and I'll explain to you why. And then this is Module A, and I'm pretty much established as to what I want to do here, especially Module A, right? Like you can see there with the drawing, like at the top. You can see the barge slip here. And then, this lead, coming off the barge slip runs down. This is probably the main right here. And then there's two sidings here. This is going to be like probably code 50. I'm going to play around with some handrail here. I haven't done any hand laying rail. I'm going to get that itch, so I'll probably do that. I'm really happy with this plan tentatively right now. It'll be subject to change as I move down to Module B, the far end past Big Bend, and down into Module C. But this is all prototypical except for that lead there. But this is in a bit of a revision here, but this is all prototypical, especially this yard throat here, right? Like Big Bend. This is exactly like the prototype track. And it runs for 3 tracks. If you go onto Google Earth, I'll leave a link down below. Just follow it under the bridge, the Arthur Lang Bridge there and stuff. Like it's just like that, except I have to build it into a curve here. And the only way to do it is to put curved turnouts in here. So, like, unless you can scratch build turnouts, it's hard to pull off because they're all unique, right? And that's the beauty of learning how to hand lay track and to scratch build turnouts, which isn't that difficult actually. Once you get past 1 or 2, you just try it, right? And everybody flubs it the first couple of times. And with fast tracks too, you can get all the templates too, right? Like it's worth checking out. Like I'll leave a link for them down below as well. Like, check them out, and they have free paper templates. Like these templates here are free. You can build right on top of those too, or you can buy their jigs and so on. I can't afford all their jigs. I mean, the amount of different tracks, and turnouts that I want to build, I can't afford that. But anyway, you can still build on their paper templates as well. But that's for another discussion. But anyway, I just want to talk about that, about what's plausible here. So it all fits in the plan, right? Like in the theater of our mind, and then when we go to actually lay it onto the structural, it doesn't work. I mean, it sort of does, but I mean, I'm pretty happy with the way this is turning out. But if you look at the barge slip here, like there's no barge. The barge is off scene. There's no room for the barge. I'd need 16 feet, right, of straight to run a barge and then have room to turn. Turn the corner, right? So I have the barge ramp here, and then the barge approach, which runs all the way down to here, and then I've got these 2 turnouts, which are prototypical, by the way, except for the fact that I had to revise this one here, this left hand, as a curve, because it needs to meet the curve track that's in here, and then when my turnouts resume in here, because I don't want any turnouts over top of the seam, right? Okay, like I'll show you here on the plan again. See, so this line here, so that's 1 foot, 2 foot, each square is a foot. So there's 2 feet, so there's a curved piece in here, right? 1, 2, 1, 2, there's a curved valance in here. part of this. I got all this space in the foreground. So see where the turnouts are going to start here? And here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 in here. And then this down here is going to be, I'm going to save that for later. That's just ideas. That's just the way it works. You can't just lay down a plan right off the hop and have it be perfect. There's no such thing. It's just revision, revision. All good plans get disrupted and revised and changed, right? So this is just a composition artistic sketch that I did just to establish the angle of the barge slip and the siding where the warehouse is going to be. This is all working out. I put a lot of time into this area and it's starting to work out. So I really like that. I have trains out here just to establish, you know, what I want to do operationally, right? Like I recommend this. Like here, I can run 2 6-axle trains here before these points here on this turnout, right? Which is this turnout right here, up here, see? And I want to be able to pull 2 50-foot cars as well with a few inches to spare with a 6 or 4-axle locomotive in here, see? It's the end of the line right here. That way, when I bring trains in on this line here from staging, which will be way off the layout, up through the main and up onto this branch, then I can cut them here and then do a runaround and disappear, right? And then the switchers can come in from the shops over here, or if they're on the siding, they can do 1 switchback, or, you know, even if they're sitting here on the barge lead, right? So operational, I really like it, you know, because you have to design the layout to meet what you want to do. Like, you know, what you want it to look like and to work like, you know, like in terms of operation, like that's your railroad. Like you have to think that through, right? Okay. And furthermore, it also helps to have a plan written down. Like some of these pointers here, as you can see, make sure that's in focus for you, are really important, right? Like it's really good wisdom, you know, that's set in play by veterans and masters in the hobby, you know. I mean, if it's not true, why would they do it? Like why do they have all the nice layouts? Like why do people, you know, why do we aspire to all these layouts regardless of size that look a certain way that we like? Well, these are some of the fundamental rules that they all go through before they actually even lay track down, you know. So, you know, like the concept is, you know, a little about, just in quick summary, the concept is about the story or the theme, you know, what you want your layout to look like, how you want it to work, the type of industries maybe. And then 2 is the structural, like, you know, scaling in the idea. Will it fit into the scene? How big is the footprint? You know, is there any yards? How many turnouts? The structure, the bench work, obviously, too, right? And then there's the details, which a lot of people start first, and it's wrong to do that because you end up just with no real idea, no plan. And then when you're got all your details, like they don't make sense, you know? Like it's important to be disciplined that way if you want to have a layout that you're really going to enjoy. And then I have these questions here that I ask myself even still. I say, what am I interested in? Well, I mean, I love to model. I love to do scenery, and I love to model locomotives. I have undecks and locomotives half on the go I've been doing on the side that I haven't uploaded yet, you know, that I'm building up, right? Unique locomotives for my fleet, you know. I like to switch the last mile. I like last mile operations, you know. That's what I like. I like a little bit of rail fanning, but that's why I would have something like this with 3 tracks. I can have locomotives. Like think of the vignette. Like think of all the little scenes within your layout, right? You know, like the things that you see in the real world that really get you passionate about things. Like, do you want to have those scenes in your layout? You know? Okay? And then there's, you know, the type of industries that you might like. Like I like, you know, grain and oil and lumber, right? Basically. And then now there's the, you know, like this barge ship changes everything, right? So it really opens up a lot of other off-shelf staging and so on, which can also be addressed on the other side on Module C, you know. So yeah, so I'm pretty happy with that. And then there'll be probably there is a warehouse, a prototypical warehouse again that will go in this corner. So this module is going to be very, very close to the prototype. I would say the only difference would be this lead here that would go to serve the warehouse, but I might change that and run it from down here. But then you won't be able to access it from these sidings, though. That's the problem. But you would from here, the main, which might be okay, because this is a nice lead. See all the leads here? There's leads to serve all these spurs here, from here on the main, or if you're over on this side, you can serve from these from these two sidings as well. And then there's some runaround. There's like 3 runarounds. 1, 2, 3, which I want. Especially when you're running small switchers, MU, and you know, like it's very, like I know in my mind how I want to operate. Even though operations are not hugely primary for me, it's nice to build them in though too, right? You know, I just like, I mean, I'm content with a couple of locomotives just idling, you know, like on a siding while I'm doing something else or whatever, you know. And like I say, I love to model, you know, like scenery, right? And I love the scene. I just love the railroad scene, you know, and the ability to operate it if I want. So, and this particular scene right here, I'm really looking forward to really sink my teeth into. And that's going to be very soon because my plywood should be ready. Geez, what day is it today anyway? It's, Saturday, right? Yeah, next week. And then I got my Code 70 track on the way. And then I might, in terms of track, you know, track planning, I guess, or track laying, I think I'm going to do this siding here, like a grown in, really sort of raunchy Code 50. Because I have, like my locomotives are run on Code 50, if it's laid carefully. Like on really old weather ties, maybe a little bit lower elevation than this center siding here. Because it'll be in the foreground, right? So I get a little bit of a rise up from, you know, the terrain, because the terrain does arise here. And then this, of course, is an idea for the shop. So there'd be a facade right here. Okay? Like there'd just be a facade and then with open doors. I can show you a picture of that. This idea I haven't finished yet, but there's a 3-way turnout here. But we'll see. You know, like I'll make something manageable because I want to be able to park my locomotives, like pull them in off a work day or whatever, and just roll them into the, like right off the main, like right in. I want to do as less, you know, reverse switchbacks as possible. You know, so I mean, it's subject to revision a little bit, right? But you know, it's a plan, right? And that's what we need, a plan to help get things going, you know, the way we like to operate. And furthermore, I don't think I mentioned that I really put a lot of emphasis on broad curves, like in previous layouts that I've done years back. I really, really wide as you can curves. Right? I could just show you an example here, like here's a couple of turnouts, like this one I built already, like this one will lead up to the warehouse. So this is a 50-inch and 40-inch inner diameter, 50-inch outer diameter, number 10 curved. And then I'm going to have the same one here, but a right hand coming off of this number 10, 36 by 30, which leads to the siding, like the Code 50 siding, and then there's another siding here. And this one will run down as the main. And I may run a turnout off here down to serve that industry down here in the corner. And then right in here will be trees, right? Remember how I talked about that? Like, just like the prototype. Here, I'll show you a picture. It would look like from this angle here. You'd be looking down from the barge, and the track prototypically goes off the slip and curves off to the right like that. Except it's, you know, more pronounced curve, you know, for the purposes of the shelf layout, right? You know, it's just the way it is, fitting it into the footprint, right? But I'm pretty happy with it because it really meets, you know, the prototype in a way that I think I'm pretty content and happy with. Okay. Okay, so there you have it, sort of phase one of the track plan, and I'll keep you updated. Feel free to bookmark me or subscribe if you want, and this is just the beginning, right? And so I'm going to do my best to cover this whole build all the way through, even if it takes years. You know, I plan on covering it, you know, right now as a vlog style, just because of the nature of what's going on in terms of construction, and then more tutorial type style later on, okay? Thanks for tuning in. Have a great day.